So what are we going to talk about today?
We are going to talk about the aftermath, moments after Dominic passed. And so when I say aftermath, I mean like, you know, it was like a storm actually, really. But the moments, I don't remember everything kind of like in a timeline. I just kind of see flashes of things, certain memories. There's nothing that's kind of like the next day and the next day and the next day. That is, that's not kind of how I see things in my memory. Before I get started, I want to kind of just, I have had people on here with me kind of starting me off. This is very, it's hard to just start talking about it, but I want to, I feel led to, and I'm glad I'm doing it, but it makes it easier when I have somebody in the room with me. So just kind of bear with me, but I have my stepdaughter here with me. She's my co-signer in case I kind of just get too quiet and I don't know what else to say, and just kind of just to help me kind of guide the conversation along. But so the aftermath, moments after Dominic passed. So I'm going to just share just moments. They won't be in any kind of random order. When I tell you that, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of brain fog. It's some serious brain fog after one of your loved ones has passed away. So one of the clearest memories I have after Dominic passed was, I think it was the day of, or maybe the next day. And it was raining. It was pouring down raining that night. In some kind of way in my memory, now I'm outside underneath the porch and it's raining and I'm just crying and I'm screaming and I'm asking God, why? Why? Just the question that we all have, of course, when our child leaves us, because we just feel like it doesn't make sense. But it just did not, I couldn't understand it or comprehend it. And I remember just screaming and just crying, waiting for an answer. Waiting for an answer. And the next morning, when I woke up, one of my good friends, I call my friends sisters, and because they're family to me. I believe that you choose your family. So I have lots of sisters and brothers and nieces and nephews and things like that are not necessarily blood related, but they're family to me. So one of my sisters, she was there when I woke up that next morning. And she had been there the day before. She spent the night. And when I opened my eyes, the first thing that I saw was her shirt. And her shirt said, "I'm with the angels." And I just broke. But I felt like it was a clear message from my son to me, letting me know I'm with the angels. Those moments, though, of like, okay, I feel okay. It doesn't last. It's short lived. But I was 9.5 years later. I still remember that memory. Another thing that I remember, there were so many people at my house. Oh my goodness. I mean, so many people coming and going. I mean, people have told me like a few years ago, yeah, I remember coming by your house, after Dominic passed. And I'm like, you did? Like, I had no idea. I was not left alone for a minute. I remember just having just family and friends there. I remember family coming in from Virginia, coming in from Mississippi, just being there, my, long-term friends, like just supporting me. You don't recognize or realize how important that is during the moment. But when I think back on it, those things saved me. I think about my son passed away in Virginia. I'm in the Atlanta area. So that means his body is in Virginia. So I don't remember all of the questions, but I knew one of them was he going to come here? Well, of course, in my mind, of course he's going to come here, but you don't think about how does he get here? How long does it take to get here? Who prepares him to, all these different things just don't even, you don't think about these things at all regarding transporting a body or shipping a body. I talked to my mom a couple of days ago because this is kind of like opened up some things for us to kind of discuss and talk about. But she was saying that she felt like she had to be there with Dominic. Sorry. She felt that she had to be there with Dominic. And I don't remember who told her, no, you need to be there with Tanisha. So then she told my brothers, whomever, to take care of Dominic's body. And I never knew this. Yeah, I just never even thought about who prepared, who was with the funeral home there or wherever to get him sent here so that she could be here with me. Another moment, I was so angry with my mom. Because, you know, I'm a fleshly person, like most of us, right? You want to blame somebody. I didn't have anybody to blame. I didn't know what had happened. And sometimes you take it out on the person that's closest to you. My mom. I just felt like, I don't know, like I just had to be angry. And she was the first person that I was angry with. So not fair. The burden that she had to deal with finding somebody to call me, with having to, that this was her first grandchild and she helped raise him. I was a teen mom. I mean, she was always there for Dominic. I don't think I knew that it was okay to be angry with God. But we'll talk about that in another segment. But my mom was here. I don't know what day, but when I say she was here from the day she got here for 4 months. A godsend. A godsend. I think about when Dominic's body did get here. Immediately, I knew what I wanted him to wear. I just knew. I knew what I wanted him to wear because he and I did a ceremony together. I laugh at it now because, you know, it was a church ceremony that we did where I was, he walked me down the aisle and everything. And he had on this suit. And I knew I wanted him to wear that suit. Now, here's the thing. I had no idea where this suit was. I don't know if I had it, if it was at my mom's side. I don't even remember how these things came together. But I knew I wanted him to wear that suit. But I knew that I was not going to be able to take that suit to him, to put it on his body, to make sure he looked the way that I wanted him to look. I did not see my son at all. I don't regret that. I knew that I would not be able to handle that. But I knew what I wanted him to wear. I knew what I wanted him to look like. I remember being specific about not having any pictures taken. I did not want one picture taken of my son in a casket. This is not a hit on anybody else that does. I just knew that I would not ever want to see that. I didn't want to mistakenly see it. I still don't want to see it. And my family held me down. They made sure nobody had a camera during the wake. And during the funeral, the casket was closed. Another thing I'm thinking about, I know I talked about the obituary before and how my cousin pretty much handled that whole thing, right? But then I have to make sure it's right. I had to make sure that it was right, that it honored my son, that it said exactly what I wanted it to represent. Difficult. I remember asking my best friend, I asked one of my other sisters if they would write it, the actual part, that you're talking about, the person. They couldn't do it. That's not an easy task. And having to go through all of these pictures. And it's like I remember seeing hundreds and hundreds of pictures on the table, just everywhere, shoot about everywhere, just everywhere. And then you just cry, then you laugh, and then you just have moments, and then you cry again, and then you laugh again, and you have disbelief, you have anger, all of these different feelings that you have during that time planning a funeral for your child. But it has to get done. And most of the time, it's a week's time span that it has to get done. One of the things that you got to go pick out a casket. My ex-mother-in-law went with me. I can't remember if my mom went too or if it was just me and her. I don't really remember. But I remember picking the place for the cemetery. And no. See, I told you, some of the things I don't remember. I think I may have went with my mom and my cousin to go pick out the casket. And I remember it being very fast. I went in there knowing exactly when I saw it, that's what I want. Picked up a little plan, that's it, and then we left. Didn't take too long. I remember one of my family friends had their parents' service there, and they took such good care of their parents. I knew that I wanted Dominic to be taken care of there. So the casket was look, in my mind, it was like a slatish blue, I think. I can't even tell you the cost of it. I just remember saying that's what I wanted. And that was that. I remember, they got to get paid. It's like, how do you pay the funeral home? Thank God I had insurance on him. He was 25. The check came, and the portion that went to the funeral home went directly to the funeral home. It's like, I had never dealt with anything like that. I want to say it may have been a total of $8,000 for his whole service. I think. I could be wrong. I don't know. But they need a death certificate too. I remember the death certificate being sent some kind of way really quickly. I don't know how, but I know that I still have not read the death certificate. I still have not opened it. I gave it to my best friend, Darlene, and she took it to the funeral home for me. When I tell you that support system, there's a lot of things I just could not do. Couldn't fathom. Like I still don't. I have the death certificate right in this room with me, and I have not opened it. I remember a lot of those moments afterwards. I was like in a daze. It was like you're up and then you're down, but you don't really remember anything. You just kind of like a zombie. Just like a zombie. Walking around, doing what you the bare minimum. I remember the day of the funeral. My goodness. It was like so many people at the house. And I remember praying before that day, just because I knew I needed like supernatural strength. And outside of the front of the house, it was a big yard. And it was like a huge circle, and we all held hands. And I don't know if I prayed or not, but in my mind, I feel like I did. I don't know. Like I said, I felt like I had super strength that day. I don't know what came over me, but I was like Superwoman. And I think I prayed, but it was like a huge circle of all of my family and friends and just praying for strength that day. Because guess what's going to speak at the funeral? This one. What in the world made me think I could do that? I don't know, but I knew I had to. I knew I had to. But when I got to the funeral home, oh my goodness, my body was shaking. My body was shaking. I was like, I can't do this. And one of my sisters, she gave me a Xanax to take. I have a prescription, but she gave me a Xanax to take. She actually shoved it down my throat and made me swallow it because I was about to pass like out. And I'm waiting to walk in because I'm the mother. So it's almost like the main event, which is weird when you think about it. But I knew all eyes were going to be on me. And it just felt like, how am I going to get through this? Walking in and seeing the casket and I have this speech I'm going to talk about. And my son's body is laying there. Closed casket, but it's an awful feeling. Awful feeling. My two sisters held me up. They stood next to me while I, gave my speech and talked about my son and talked about how amazing he was and how much love he wanted to share and for us to continue to do that. It's part of the reason why I'm doing this is so that, I'm hoping that my story can help someone else, can help someone find that peace that they need, the courage to talk, to share. These moments, going back, thinking about it, not that easy. Not that easy. I miss him a lot. It's having me kind of rethink things. I had on one of my segments, I think the second one, or maybe the first one, the worst day of my life, I got a message from the guy that cut Dominic's hair for the funeral. He sent me a message and said, I remember that day. I don't want my son to ever be forgotten. I want him to always be remembered. He's still here with me. He's still here with his brother, with his grandmother, his friends, his uncles, aunts. He's still present. So even though that aftermath was brutal, thinking about it is brutal. But I don't want to ever forget. I want to always remember him, even if it makes me cry. I try my best to not have moments where I'm breaking down on here. But trust me, I have my moments still. I probably will after this segment. But I just thank you all for listening, for being a part of this journey for me. And Just remember, this is unscripted. This is just me talking, me sharing. And I would love to hear your thoughts. You know, let's talk about it. Thank you for listening. Next crossing. My Dominic.